Well, first of all, welcome to Metal Fusion. Well, just like I said, I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I know that you've been doing some interviews for different countries, and well, South America, Argentina was one of them. I want to say that this is a very special moment, not only because of the release of the new album, but also because this is the first time that South America has been included in this promotional tour. Most of the time, promotion and reviews focus on Europe, the major players in this industry. And I want to emphasize that Nightwish has a very strong fan base here in South America. And the sold out show in 2022 here in Buenos Aires proved how significant your presence is here in this part of the world. So thank you so much for sharing this special moment with us.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, and it's an honor, really, to be so appreciated in South America, because it's one of our favorite. It's one of our favorite places to play, and it has some of the most wonderful fans on earth.
Well, thank you. I wasn't prepared to hear that. But we are here to celebrate the release of your 10th album titled Yesterwynde. Luckily for me, the label sent me the album about 2 weeks ago or something like that. So I have the chance to explore this new chapter, the final chapter of the trilogy. And I've been watching all the Nightwish documentaries from 2006 to 2024.
It's good news that you've heard the album, because some journalists who I've spoken to recently hadn't actually had access to the record. So that's really good news that you've heard it, Sebastian.
Yeah, I've been working with Nuclear Blast since March, I think. That was my very first try with them. And well, I'm working with them since that date. So I'm very happy to work with them. Very nice.
They're a wonderful company.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone knows your story as a musician, your musical background, your early experiences playing with your parents, buying Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. That's a very famous record here in Argentina. It's amusing to think that your initial impression of the pipes was, it sounds like an animal singing. Like, what the hell is that? And now, 17 years later, you've become that animal, the beautiful yet the beautiful yet strange element in Nightwish. I had the pleasure of speaking with James Sherman, and he shared a wonderful story about how you've become a special piece of this puzzle. Since the word Yesterwynde holds a special meaning related to the concept of time, I would like to ask, how do you feel today when you look back at your early days with Nightwish? Like, just take a moment to look at where we are today.
Yeah. It's, well, as we all experience time, time has a different effect on us day to day. So today, my initial meeting with the guys in Nightwish feels like 1,000 years ago now. That's just the strange fluidity of time. Whereas yesterday it felt like it was only 10 minutes ago that I met them all. So it goes up and down. Sometimes it feels very recent. Sometimes it feels like lifetimes ago. But that applies to us all. It applies to, I suppose it's down to mood and how you feel at any given time. But Yesterwynde and the whole concept of Yesterwynde comes from that in a way, in that it's heavily rooted in perception of time and how we see time, especially distant time, our ancestors, our history, all of those aspects of time. But time in general is Yesterwynde.
Yeah, and I've been investigating a lot about this word, this new word called Yesterwynde, and I found some kind of relationship, especially the word wine, the term related to the winds of the past, or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why we find the word to be so interesting and so pertinent to the theme and to the concept, is because sure enough, yester is yester. Those two syllables are self-explanatory. Really, it's yesterday, but wind could be depending on how you. A lot of journalists I've spoken to pronounce it Yesterwynde, or as well, but it is Yesterwynde. But wind can be the winding of a clock as well. It can be the winding of a clock, but it's your reading of it that is the correct one. Wind as in wind, which we see as the wind of time passing through us and changing us as it passes through us. The actual spelling of it, W-Y-N-D-E, comes from the Old English. It's, I think, a 16th century song, which a friend of mine exposed me to, called Western Wind, which is basically Western wind. Western wind, when will you blow? That's the lyric. It's really ancient, an ancient song. So I grabbed wind from that. Thomas had ideas for yester. So I grabbed wind and threw that in there, and it was like, yeah, this is the word. This is the word that we've been looking for, because we went through quite a few iterations of time and all the words connected to time, but we just landed on Yesterwynde, and it seemed to symbolize the feeling of the album, and it looks good. It looks good, as you know what I mean. It just written, it looks really nice. So Yesterwynde it is, and Yesterwynde it shall remain. And hopefully, our dream is that it'll one day make it into the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah. In fact, here I have the two previous records. Like the last one was signed by all of you. So, well, now I need the third one. I just wanted to buy the Atmos version of this album. Like I've been talking to Mika Jusula, and well, we talk every now and then, and he recommended me to buy the Atmos version. So in fact, he talked to me like 2 days ago for well, all this kind of discussion about like Floor's voice, very low in the mix and all that kind of things.
And when you've got somebody like Mika saying that, you've got to stop and think, because he knows what he's talking about. If there is any, I know I've heard that there's a few people out there who think that she's too low in the mix. Well, she's not. You know, she's exactly where she should be, and her place in each song changes. You know, in some songs she's really upfront, and but in the bigger widescreen vastness of Yesterwynde, she's exactly where she needs to be, and that is as part of the whole sound rather than sat on top. You know, she needs to be. She needs to be audible. You've got to hear. I obviously can hear every word she sings, and but you should be able to hear every detail of every aspect of this record. You shouldn't be distracted by a vocal that's too loud. This applies to most music, really. You've got to be very sensitive as to how you mix something depending on the music. And this particular music is very symphonic, and it's wider than I think it's wider and more emotional than any other Nightwish album. And Floor is perfectly situated in the mix. You can hear the clarinet, and you can hear the first oboe, you can hear the violas and the cellos, and you can hear Floor, and you can hear piccolos on top of Floor, and you can hear the drums, you can hear the guitars, you can hear everything. Personally, I think it's a beautiful mix.
Exactly.
But, you know, that's me.
Yeah, I give it a few shots, and every time that I listen to this record, I find something different. So you need a few listenings to get the whole picture.
Well, that's right, Sebastian. You because of that, precisely because of this, the discussion we're having about this, the mix, it's precisely for that reason that you can discover new things in the sound. Because if there was any one thing that was too loud, or any one thing that would jump out, then the whole thing itself, the complexion of the music would change. This Yesterwynde album, as I've said, it's the most symphonic and colourful Nightwish album yet. For me personally, I love them all, but this one, it feels to me to be full of life, full of life.
It is right. And getting back to you, if I were to analyze every single aspect of your story, I would say that your contribution to Nightwish has only continued to grow. Like your influence, spirit, and beliefs have made this journey quite emotional, don't you think? Like if you take a moment to listen to Once, the first album you heard from Nightwish, you can see how much stronger you've become as a member of this band. I really appreciate that. Every band needs to evolve into something new, and that's a double-edged sword, of course.
It is. But that's a wonderful thing to say. That's a wonderful attitude to it, because you're right. Everything should evolve. Music should never be safe. It should never be rooted in its past. But again, it depends on the application. I mean, I wouldn't want to hear AC/DC playing jazz. You know, you've got to expand on what it is that your whole raison d'etre is. Now, Nightwish from day one was a thing that was moving forward. It was never just a band that wanted to stay as it was. It was never locked within a genre, because it went through a few genres before it became at the vanguard of this idea of symphonic metal. So once from the album Once onwards, the band developed and developed and developed, and your commentary on my aspect of it, my aspect of the whole thing, and my input has been a natural progression, really, I suppose, a natural progression from when I first met the band. I just went in there as a session player because I was playing the uilleann pipes. I was pulled more into the center of the dream of what Nightwish is, and the dream of what Nightwish is very secret, but the secret's easily accessed if you love the music. But if you're dipping into Nightwish and having a listen and go, oh yeah, that sounds okay, well, you'll never discover the secret of Nightwish. Nightwish, the secret, can only be found through serious and love of a certain kind of direction and sound.
Of course, and you have songs like Last of the Wilds and I Want My Tears Back, like they're both anthems, and we still dance together like a flock of sheep. Everything you've touched has turned to gold. From the beautiful melodies in Idima Root to the first part of The Greatest Show on Earth, the charmingly unconventional arrangements in Harvests, which are ridiculous. I have to say this to Thomas. And now Sway and Hirayev, like, how would you describe your role in Nightwish now? Because from Dark Passion Play to Yesterwynde, I know you took on a larger role in Human Nature, which was your first experience as a lead singer. And now, after Marcus' departure, this upcoming album, Yesterwynde, feels like a very different journey.
Well, it's difficult, Sebastian, because you've kind of articulated everything I could possibly say in what you've just said there. I see what is within your question, but I mean, I'm deeply alive to how wonderful things are musically with this band, and how things have progressed and how things have evolved. It's a constant source of inspiration to me as well. The direction I can see the band moving in all the time, and this applies to all of us. You know, all of the members of the band feel that we're all being pulled forward in a very Yesterwynde way into the future of more and more intricate but powerful and emotional music. And that's what we intend to do. Yesterwynde is a result of that way of thinking. You know, we all of us want to be pulled forward and beyond ourselves, and damn any restrictions on us. We don't work like that. You know, we don't think, oh, we've got to sound like Imaginarium, or we have to sound like Dark Passion Play or Oceanborn or anything. We don't see any future in that, and we don't see any fun in it either. You know, there's no fun in just constantly trying to recreate the past. Again, you said earlier, you've got to move forward.
Exactly, and you are the frontman of Nightwish, the new frontman. And that's a fact, not fiction.
I don't know about that, Sebastian. I don't know about that. But, look, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Go on. Look, I've gone red now. You've made me go red.
Well, that's a beautiful attitude. I know it must have been very hard for you to adjust to that voice like 4 years ago, but you've made it. And the virtual shows were your first experience singing with Flo without another male vocalist. And
that's very kind. That's very kind of you to say that. You know, I love to sing with Flo. We on our previous tours, last 2 tours, we did an acoustic set. Well, just one song acoustically. How's the Heart and Decades in the Sun, and it felt so natural for us to do that. Now, I'm completely aware of Marco's giant presence, you know, in the band for so long. But of course, Marco has a very different voice to me. I spoke to a journalist recently, Sebastian. You'll probably agree with this, and he said there's absolutely no point in trying to compare Marco with me, with our voices. And he said it's like comparing Rob Halford to David Gilmour.
Yeah,
and that's exactly it. And I mean, that's a massive compliment as well. But
that's because I said that you've made it, because I don't know, like, I don't want to take it for granted, but your voice sounds very magical for me. You have a very beautiful voice. I'm a big fan of Ori and also Eye of Melian.
Right. Okay.
I have a very strong relationship with your voice. And regarding to Hirayat, for example, I have to say that I've never heard you singing so low with such strong low register. Never.
Well, you know that my bandmates, all of my friends in the band, they're constantly pushing me to go. How low can you go? You know, it's always going. How low can you go? And I'm going. It's like being a limbo dancer with this bunch. But to try and be objective about it, and what you've kindly said about the voice is I can listen to his voice, my voice, now as we're further along the road, and I understand that there's a soft quality to it that's very fragile, and it seems to, and again, judging by your response to it, it seems to create a certain atmosphere that I'm not fully aware of myself, but my bandmates are, you know, and you are. So I'm very reluctant to sing so much, but I'm very encouraged by all of my friends and by what you've kindly said. So I on the new album, it was delightful for me to be involved more in colouring the songs, you know, against the hugeness of Nightwish and against the phenomenal stratospheric vocals of Floor. You've got this quiet man coming in and I understand it now after hearing it. I understand that he's a really lovely colour to stick into this Nightwish world. So I'm very pleased.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that the three-part harmonies during the Decades tour, which was recorded here in Buenos Aires, cheers for that.
Yeah.
I have it right here.
Were you at the show?
Yeah, of course. It was my very first Nightwish show, so
wonderful. Well, it's one of the greatest shows of all time.
That was my very first time, like, hearing you singing. That was very interesting for me to hear the old songs being played live with three singers at the same time.
Yeah,
like
it was very exciting for us to explore the old back catalogue with three voices, three very different voices to each other. But it excited us so much that when we came to record Human Nature, we decided that we wanted to focus more on that aspect of harmony vocals. So we did. So on songs like Endlessness, it's a beautiful wall of harmony, that song. It's one of my favorite songs, and we wanted to explore that more. And now with Yesterwynde, because there's only two of us, it became more the man and the woman rather than you know what I mean.
The Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. How can you call Flora a beast like that? That's terrible.
Yeah,
she won't be happy.
But I don't know. I can't say that this has changed because it hasn't. And Yesterwynde sounds amazing. Like every song is beautifully balanced. Like, how do you see this album, or how do you perceive this new compilation? Because I know that Fleur wasn't part of the summer camp this time, and despite the different rehearsal and recording periods, like, the result is amazing. What makes this album sound so strong after all the challenges you faced throughout the process?
I think again, you say the word challenges. I think the word challenge was enough to really make us to excite us in such a way that we wanted to pull out all the stops, to really go for it, and really try to expand on the previous two albums. If you look at the albums as a trilogy, so we had to make the third album, because we've been talking about the albums as if it's a trilogy. We had to make the final album a piece of sonic dynamite. Really, it had to be huge. Just when you think that we couldn't go any huger, you know. I mean, with Human Nature, it's like, well, maybe we should go more acoustic and go. No, we went even bigger than before. So now Yesterwynde's from the most vast of the Nightwish albums, you know, symphonically, you know, with the orchestra, the way the orchestra is written, it's just ginormous, and we're all really delighted with it. And let's see what happens with the next one.
Yeah, in fact, I remember my first time listening to Hirayat for the first time, and I was like, okay, this is so soft, this is so lovely, like, this is very emotional, and then bam, it punches you in the face. Like, what
well,
the
you've
hell
got
is
it.
that?
Yeah. Well, it is soft and very lovely and stark and lonely. You know, that's what it's supposed to be. You know, because Hiraeth it's a word meaning longing. You know, longing for something, longing for a person or for a place. So I had to get that fragility over with his voice. So and I think it really worked. And when Floor comes in, it's just so beautiful. It really is. I must have another listen to it. Actually,
Yeah.
go and listen to it.
I remember one of the episodes from the Endless Forms Most Beautiful Making of series, where Thomas mentioned that for him, every song is like a short movie, with the music serving as its soundtrack. And Yesterwynde truly feels like a film. Like it opens with a projector kind of sound that sets the stage for what's to come. And then we have the final track, a beautiful emotional ballad called Lantern Lights, which concludes with that same projector sound turning off the movie. You've been a lifelong fan of movies and books, and now you're a part of 3 different film scores, talking about Nightwish, Ori, and Eye of Melian. And music has the power to change everything, like from simple thoughts to complex religious boundaries. How does it feel for you to be a part of this transformation? Like, do you feel some kind of responsibility?
No, not responsible, but certainly personally enriched by it. You know, I feel completed by it. I don't have many musical ambitions left, really. I've kind of done it all, everything I always dreamed of. So all I can do now is expand on that, is to make it even wider, and to find new colours, deeper, richer colours to use, to colour my voice, my personal expression in music. So yeah, that's it really. But at the moment we're just concentrating on having the time off. But there will be Ari activity next year. Next year we're going to tour Ari.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Who knows? We might come to South America and we could meet. We'll have to see. But Sebastian, unfortunately, I'm going to have to. I've got another interview coming through now, so I'm going to have to leave you. Time fades away when you're talking about music like this, and it's been a wonderful interview. I've enjoyed every moment of it.
I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy for this album, and I wish you all the best. Not for this album, but for Ori 3, of course, and for your personal life and journey.
Well, maybe we can talk about Ori 3 when that album comes out. Give me a call and we'll do this again.
See you next time, and thank you for this amazing moment.
You're very, very welcome, Sebastian. Have a good night.
Have a great day. See you.
Thank you. Bye.